one thing I've learned, that if you're gonna have a long busy day, you need to get a good start. And so I like to get a good breakfast, but I also like to put a little bit of this inside my coffee, and it really does help me physically and mentally. It really does work for both. The other thing, I like to fill my cup up with ice and water to sip on throughout the day. Stay hydrated. Hey guys, Sheena here with Olle Gardens. Thanks for coming and watching our video. Thanks for coming back and watching our video. If you're new, please make sure you subscribe, and that way you can get notifications for all of our videos that we put out. Sometimes they're far and in between, but we're doing better with getting them more regularly, so you can look out for that. Now, on to the reason for this video. I think I told you guys that we started doing the farmers market season back in May. And so my intention was to get a video for you guys showing you kind of what we did, how we prepared for market, and things like that. Well, I ended up doing a few like little short clips throughout the days before we did that first market, and I ended up just posting them to Instagram and Facebook. If you don't follow us on those platforms, please do. That's where we post most of our media for now, until we can get more regular with YouTube. That's where most of our information, updates and things like that go. It's easier, it's quicker, there's usually not a lot of editing involved, and so with running the farm, the family, and also my ministry, you know, being there for my friends and family, it's just, it takes a little bit more time to do the YouTube videos versus the reels and stuff on Facebook. So I still wanted to make sure that I got a video in for you guys that follow us on YouTube, kind of showing you some of the behind the scenes things that we do in preparation for market. And so that's what I'm trying to do today. It is Friday, June 27th. Tomorrow is a market day for us. We've been off for a couple of weeks. 1 week we were off for sickness, and then we were off also for Ty's graduation party. Congratulations! And we actually initially weren't going to be doing this date, but then having missed the other date, we kind of wanted to be able to make it up a little bit. Also, we want to try to be there for all of the days that we've signed up for, kind of like that loyalty thing to, you know, your market, just not wanting them to have any empty spots or whatever like that. So it worked out that they had spaces for this particular event because it is the annual watermelon festival, and so everything will be centered around watermelon type things, like watermelon products is what I'm trying to say. And there's going to be games and fun, and in our little community, people really look forward to things like this, especially for giving the young ones something to do. And who doesn't love watermelon in the summer? It's just like so refreshing and amazing. So there are a few things that I am going to be preparing for that. We are going to be preparing at least 2 watermelon products. That's going to be the watermelon finishing salt for like margaritas, and also a watermelon jam. Definitely going to be doing those 2, but I may also do a watermelon bread. I saw this recipe and it seemed like something that could be, it seemed like it could be good, honestly. So I'm really thinking about doing that, but time is a factor on that. And I would want to make at least 1 loaf and then test it. It's Friday, the market's tomorrow. Chances are it's not gonna happen, but yeah, we'll see. The first thing that I like to do whenever I'm getting market things together is I like to go ahead and do the eggs first, right? I like to go ahead and wash them and get them packaged up. And then after that, especially if I'm doing any cooking, I like to go through and do a very thorough cleaning of the kitchen, the counters, the floors, the sinks, everything. Sanitize everything, get everything ready, nice and clean to be cooking for the public. I'm not saying the kitchen is not clean, but when it comes to cooking for other people, there's just always this moral sense of responsibility to make sure you're giving them the best product, and that's the way I feel. Also, cottage food law has some stipulations in as well that we want to try to fall under when it comes to those guidelines as well. So I'm just gonna, I'm not exactly sure how I'm gonna edit this video. Like, even as I'm talking, I'm sorry for the stuttering, because it was just really like a last minute thing that I decided to do. And so, I don't know. I'm not sure how I'm going to edit it, but I'm going to try to give you a little bit of some of everything that we do, and then we'll put it all together for you. While I was working on getting the camera set up here, the farmhand, Brian the farmhand, was working on moving all of our eggs that we collected for the week from our collection station to the kitchen. I've already cleaned out the sink, and I'm gonna go ahead and get that process started. So, come on guys, let's get to work. And that's my little supervisor. We're gonna be supervising from afar and cleaning. Oh, and Gizmo. There he is. The loaf. My two boys. And Brady, of course. Oh gosh, I can't do anything with him in here, so you know he's outside. And that is, I don't like wearing shoes. I have learned that these kind of days where even I'm just like in the house working and standing a lot, my body's gonna punish me big time if I don't put some support under these bad boys. So first thing we do, reluctantly, is put shoes on. And reluctantly, because putting my house tennis shoes on is not the easiest for me. Putting shoes on, just in general, isn't. I've talked about some of my physical issues with you guys in the past, but you can probably see that my feet were a little, They are very difficult to fit. Also, one is bigger than the other by a long shot, much wider. This one is wider than this one. This one has had more operations than the other one to correct club feet. I was that kid in school that had the braces and the arm crutches and all of that. Just so many surgeries and stuff to get me to where I am today. And so I try not to be ashamed of who I've been allowed to become by the grace of God and advancements in technology, science, and medicine. Oh, Lord. And see, I have a legitimate reason for not wanting to put the shoes on. So, a lot of times people will look at me like, why are you doing things this way? Alright? So if I use both of my hands to reach down and try to tie these shoes, I'm going to lose balance. This leg is longer And so reaching down to tie this shoe, because I have more stability on this leg, I could technically be more balanced on the other way, which I'll show you. So I'm more stable this way than I would with this leg being that way. But because of my back and my torso length and not being able to squat yet, I can't tie that shoe. So this is where my little helpers, my kids, have been very beneficial and helpful to me over the years. And let me not forget my beautiful husband. And I've seen me through so much. Alright, y'all. We got shoes on. That was a workout. Like, literally, I feel like I did my stretches for the morning. Yeah. Ooh. Scrub mamas only have the scrub daddies. The scrub mamas, well, that one needs to be washed, but this is a scrub daddy. It's rough on both sides, but the scrub mamas are like, they have like a smoother surface on one side and a rough side. And I think that's so perfect because that's a mama for you. I mean, daddies are the same way, but I just thought it was cute. So it might seem counterintuitive, but I usually will sanitize the sinks before and after cleaning eggs. So before is just to make sure there's no cross-contamination from anything that we have prepared for our family, meal-wise. And then, of course, after is to make sure that we're not contaminating ourselves with eggs. So, spray this, let it sit for a second, and then we'll start going through the eggs while that sits. Now, our egg production this week, our egg production this week was a little bit low compared to what it normally is, but we've got this crazy heat wave y'all know about. It's going through everywhere right now, so it's nothing new. These are our eggs for this week. We've had several that have asked about wanting to have their eggs not washed for the market, and I had to go back and relook at the show all because previously I had the understanding that they had to be cleaned. The idea is that they can't have debris on them, so this one, that would be a no. Alright, I could not put this in a package and sell it according to the show law. Nope, not that one either. This one, I could. It has not been washed, but it is clean of debris. So I'm probably going to go through and see if I have at least a dozen that are this way. That way I can leave them out on the table, and I will make sure that I will mark it to make sure that the customer knows that this has not been washed, okay? But I'm looking here, and in the midst of this crazy heat wave, we have also had a tremendous amount of rain. So our hens are very stubborn. They lay where they want to lay. And when we readjusted the coops, some of the hens refused to lay where the new nesting boxes were put. They literally would break out of the run and go and lay in their preferred spot, which was the old broken down coop, and then break back into the run to eat and live. So we literally planned search for the egg for like 2 months. Finally, we got it to where they couldn't get out. So if they wanted to lay, they had to figure out a new spot. Some of them held eggs for weeks before they realized that they were not going to be able to get out anymore, and then they resumed laying. So we have had this up and down, up and down, up and down with our eggs, back and forth, up and down. And it wasn't because of anything other than just circumstantial things, and our girls were just not happy. They were just not happy. But now, this time, it's because of the heat. It's so hot. And so, fortunately, we've already washed up eggs last week while we were not in market, and we restocked our own personal supply. So we have, each one of our containers hold 14 eggs, and I think we have 3 in the refrigerator now, plus 112. So we're good. So all of these eggs, or majority of these eggs that fit the grade A standard, will be going off to be packaged for the market tomorrow. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get these sorted, and I'm gonna get a secondary basket to put the 12 in that we will be using, preparing for like not being washed, and then everything else goes into the sink. Now, if it doesn't pass the grade A standard, even if it's the right size and cleanliness and all of that, it just goes right back to our personal supply that we use for the family, because we don't care if it has bumps on it, you know, or a stain, or whatever the case may be. An egg is an egg is an egg. But for you guys, you get the prettiest, most adorable eggs that we can collect and prepare for you. So we're just gonna speed through this while I work on that, and I'm gonna be listening to a book called Ingredients. Can't remember the author right now. I'll put it up here, but it's on Audible, and I've really enjoyed the way this author breaks down the science and makes it the science behind the ingredients and the things that we take into our body, anywhere from food to sunscreen to tobacco, and I'm sure that's what I've just so far have learned. There's going to be more, I'm sure. I've only barely gotten into the book, but I'm going to put it up here. I'm not sponsored or anything like that. I just thought it was a good book. So let's get going. these are some random ones that we found in odd places, and we weren't exactly sure how long they've been there. And so these will not go to the public at all. Okay, all right, the eggs are washed, and I'm going to remove them from the counter now, and then I'm going to spray the counter and let it dry, and then what am I starting on next? I don't know. I'll be back with you. Okay, so what I decided to do is to start working on labels. In the past, when I've done markets and I had some labeling to do, I would just wait and do all the labeling at once, like at the end of my processing and bottling, canning, whatever the case was, right? That is too much for me. Doing it all at one time just it feels overwhelming to me. So I started breaking it up and doing a little bit at a time. And so we are completely out of our egg labels, and so I needed to redo them anyway. This time, these new cartons that I purchased, they are not plastic, they are cardboard, recycled cardboard, and so the stickers don't adhere to them as well as they do to the clear plastic ones that we've used in the past. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a label that I can just tie on with a string and just do it like that, because I find I'm getting frustrated that I'm passing the eggs to the customers from the cooler and there is no label. And so proper labeling, of course, in order to be compliant, we need to make sure we're doing that. So I have Avery pulled up here, which is where I usually do my templates. I usually buy from them. This is the clear label that I used to use on our eggs, and I basically use it on a lot of different things, but I'm not going to be using that today. I'm going to be using just some cardstock. Actually, is this cardstock? This is not my cardstock. This is sticker paper. That's what this is. I'm going to use it, and then I'm just going to cut them out and punch a hole in them. The sticker paper will be a little bit more resilient than the cardstock, just because it won't do any bleeding or anything like that if there happens to be any moisture. So I'm going to get this done, and I'm going to continue listening to my book. Alexa, resume.
In addition to living in a
even better. So I'm gonna do regular paper, and I'm gonna print a few of them, and I'm just gonna laminate it because I can use this for something else. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so I got my laminator here. Is it Scotch is the brand. I've had this thing for, I'm trying to remember why I originally bought it. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it on so it can be warming up. I've broken a few pieces off of it. It still works, so hey. That might have been bad. That might have been so bad. Alright, pay attention, Sheena. Alright, so got my scissors, which I'm probably gonna have to use to punch the hole, because I just bought, or a friend just bought me another hole punch for a project, a single hole punch. I can't find it, but I got my 3-hole here and my 2-hole here, so it'll be fun. So the way you do this, in case you want to know, if you didn't know already, you probably already do, but got your paper, and I started to go back and print like thank you for your business or some sweet message on the back, but I had scheduled that update, and I didn't want it to possibly conflict and then just shut down or ask to shut down while I was working. So I'm just, here's the lamination sleeve. You open it up and then insert what you want to be laminated. And since this will be plastic, we do have indicated on there on these, whether it's large, jumbo, medium, and the date. So I will use a Sharpie marker, which is what I normally use anyway, to circle that and put the date on these as we package them. Now, the smart thing for me to do would be to go ahead and cut all of these out and go ahead and punch the holes so that when I'm ready, I don't have to sit down and do this. And I may just do that, but I'm looking at the time, how the time is getting away from me. I've not harvested anything. This time, we're not gonna have a whole lot of produce options. We'll be having mostly herbs, and tomatoes. The timing on our okra has just been so off. I think we've only been able to take it once in the 3 markets that we've done so far. So that's been, kind of sucks, because that was one of the whole reasons why I did the little experiment to get the okra to market earlier. We got it there, but I just needed to do more. So next year, actually technically that'll be this year, for next year, in December when I start the okra again, I'm gonna do a lot more from the beginning so that we have a good amount of okra that we're able to bring to market. All right, so this is red. It turns blue when it's ready, and it gives you 2 different heat settings. One is for 3 mil thickness and one's for 5 mil thickness. And I have it on 3 because this is pretty thin. This lamination paper is thin. I'm not using, like, if I was using the cardstock, which I could have used the cardstock and put it in here so that it was extra heavy, but I felt like that was a little bit of a waste. So I'm just gonna leave it on 3 mil, let that heat up. And while that's doing that, I want to talk to you about one of the processes that I go through. So whenever we're getting ready for market, there are going to be times where I'm not going to be able to be at the table. I may have to leave the kids or Terry at the table, and so we have a price list that's for us. Most of the things on the table will have prices on them. That's another thing I could have put on the back of this, but since they're going to be in a cooler, it's not a big deal. But if I was doing it for something else, like, I'm probably going to do a hanging tag for my jams this time, because Cottage Food Law is wanting us to have the ingredients and everything much larger than stickers that fit easily on the jars. So I'll probably have some that stick on there that are decorative, that are all cutesy or whatever. But for the actual details and the compliant labels, they will probably be hanging. And on the back of those, I will go ahead and print the price for those. But for everything else, I want to have them with a price list. So what I do is I go ahead and I write out everything that I'm planning on bringing, or type out, and I'll put how many I have, and then I'll put the price by that. Then ahead of time, that tells me whether it's really going to be worth me going. Our fee for our vendor to be a vendor is $20 a day, and so you pay that $20 whether you make anything or not. That's owed to the market manager. And so if you see the work that's been going in just for eggs, this is just for eggs. This is not the produce. This is not the jams and jellies. This is not anything else. Is it going to be worth it for me with what I have available this week to go? Unfortunately, when you sign up, you're committed to go. You can't just be like, well, I barely got anything, so I'm not going to go. I mean, I guess you technically could, but I don't know. It really doesn't seem too fair. But, oh, okay. So our blue light is on, so we're ready. So, this kind of, it just gives me an idea of what I can, the most that I can make, because I'll take those numbers. Let's say I've got 3 dozen of eggs. That's $21. Let's say I got 5 bundles of rosemary. We've been doing those at $3 each, so that's 15. 21 and 15 is what, 36? So we'll leave it at that, just because I don't want to keep doing math. I have a potential for $36 at this market, right? Let's just say that was all I had. I gotta pay $20 off the top. My profit is $16. So these are things that we have to take into consideration when we're signing up for markets. We've been approached by another market here in Dothan that is midweek and at a different location. I would love to go for the thought of having more exposure, the potential to make more money. But when I did my planning schedule for planting, that did not include 2 markets. It only included 1. So next year, or this year when I'm doing the planning for next year, if I want to be able to do 2 markets, I can adjust my planting accordingly. That way I have enough to be fair to both market managers. Also to my customers that will be coming looking like, what you got for me? You know, I came all this way for your product and you don't have anything. That's the most like upsetting feeling, because I've been there before. Since then, I've smartened up and I've learned to include more value-added products in our rotation. And this week is one of those weeks where we will have a lot more value-added products rather than produce. So our teas, we're gonna have a lot of those. We're gonna have the jams, the jellies, potentially even gonna be doing some bread too, as I mentioned earlier in the video. So this means that my table is full. People are drawn to a full table. They're also drawn to colors. So I love it when I have carrots, tomatoes, zucchini, cucumbers. All of the different colors really do invite the customers to come in and explore what's on your table. Kind of bunched up on me there because I was running my mouth, so let me run it back through. I have those done. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off, and I'm gonna take a little bit of a break from recording, put my feet up, watch some YouTube videos, and cut these, and then I will be back with you. So I was sitting here after I took my little break and cut up the labels. Oh, and this is how they look. This is how they look. I haven't put the holes in yet, but this is what they look like. So And then I started reviewing and even editing the footage. And I realized this is a long video. And I haven't even done half of what I was going to do. So we're going to cut it right here. And I'll break this up into several parts and post that over the next week or so. So yeah, we'll be taking down our tent, setting it up and taking it down so that I can get the actual cloth off. It's got to be washed. Birds used it as a target practice. So we're gonna wash it, visit another local farm for a watermelon for this project. And there's the projects themselves. So thanks for watching. If you stayed this far, you must really like us, and so we appreciate you. Remember to grow big from home. See you in part 2.